What's up YouTube? This is Bystander X79. Guys, today I'm coming to you with my latest deck profile video for August 2019. Alright guys, still in the middle of the off season, and I can tell you this right now. Time for rogue decks. Great time for rogue decks to really turn on a step up, to really measure up to see if they can actually compete in the meta. I mean, a lot of the meta decks got shooken up with the last ban list, so this is a good time to really test your mettle of deck building to see how you can turn around and really put some teeth into your decks to see if they're competitive. Alright, today's deck I'm going to be exploring, I'm going to be doing my counter fairy build. I gotta say, I'm loving this as one of my favorite rogue decks of all time. Just being able to shut my opponent down and do a whole lot of other stuff with this deck is just simply amazing. Alright, the deck got a massive consistency boost when TCG Konami released Pot of Extravagance. It just helps the deck out so well. Alright guys, so without further ado, we're going to get right into this build. Okay, of course, we're going to start off with the monsters, and we're going to start off with the key core cards for the Counter Fairy deck. One of those cards is the 3 copies of Battle for Artemis. Basically, whenever a counter trap is activated, you're going to be drawing a card. Getting multiple copies of this card on the field, you're going to be drawing multiple cards. So this is a pretty big consistency factor for the deck. It needs to be at 3. You want to be seeing multiples of it, and you want to be getting it onto the field. Alright, and so you can be drawing your cards. Alright, the other one that's really important is the 3 copies of Guiding Ariadne. Okay, Ariadne, Pendulum Scale, and Monster Effect. Alright, its Pendulum Scale Effect is pretty much what you could be using it most for, because it basically takes away all costs for your counter traps. You can't discard cards, you can't pay life points to activate your counter traps, which means you're just activating for free, which is just awesome. Its Monster Effect isn't that bad either. You can crash into a bigger monster, and whenever it's destroyed, you get to turn around and reveal 3 counter traps from your deck. Your opponent picks one randomly to add to your hand, and the other 2 are shuffled back in your deck, which is actually pretty good. Alright. To help out with the control aspect of the deck, 2 copies of Miltillo, the Sage of the Sky. Okay, what does he do? Whenever a counter trap is activated, you gain 1,000 life points. That's pretty cool, especially when it comes down to time. However, if you happen to have the Sanctuary in the Sky, or a card that represents the Sanctuary in the Sky on the field, you get to turn around and pop a card off your opponent's field, and that actually helps with the overall control aspect of this deck, being able to keep cards off your opponent's field and just be able to turn around and put pressure on your opponent. Alright. Last counter fairy is 1 copy of Minerva, the Scholar of the Sky. Alright, whenever a counter trap is going to be activated, this card gets jacked up by 500 attack and defense, which is actually pretty damn awesome. Also, she allows you to recycle your counter traps back into your deck, so she's actually very crucial to help recycling stuff in the deck. The reason why I'm not running more copies of her is basically because of one particular spell. Alright? Just to help out the deck to get over bigger monsters, 2 copy of Honest. Very standard for this deck. And last but not least, I'm actually running 1 copy of Barrier Statue of the Heavens. This basically prevents the special summon of anything but light attribute monsters, which is actually pretty damn good. If you look at what the top meta decks were, most of it was dark based. I mean, look at the Danger Thunders, mostly dark. Alright? Even if you mix in Crusadia, all the attributes except for light. Okay? You go to Sound Migrants, fire. Sky Strikers, anything but light. Alright? Orcus, dark. So yeah, this card will shut down a lot of the decks in the meta. Alright, and those decks still that I mentioned still probably will be in the top. So it's always going to be good. Alright, for the spells, 3 copies of Pot of Duality. This deck does not special summon a whole lot. Being able to dig into your deck 3 cards and pick the card you need for the situation, always good. And like I said in the intro, Pot of Extravagance needs to be in this deck. Get rid of 3 or 6 cards, and for every 3 cards you banish face down from your extra deck, you draw a card. So that's actually very good to help you get deeper into your deck, and the more consistency this deck has, the better. Alright? And I might have noticed that I don't run Luster in this deck, primarily because I'm running the Sanctum of Parasheth. And the reason why is that with this deck, you're either running a Luster build or you're running Parasheth, the Sanctum. It's either or. You can't be running both because you're going to be needing as much room as possible to set your counter traps to really go off. So Luster will be one scale. Then you will have to run the field spell in place of this. If you're running this takes the other side of the scale, and this way you still have 3 spots open. What does this card do? It powers up all your fairy type monsters on the field by 300 attack. Modest boost, but still is actually pretty good. And not only that, but it also allows you to recycle 3 fairy or counter trap cards from your graveyard and stack your deck. That's actually flipping awesome. Alright. And of course, if you noticed, actually all my fairies are all level 4s. That's because I'm running 3 copies of Ties of the Brethren. Very awesome, just to get your cards and field set up really quickly. I can't tell you how good this card is in this deck. It allows you to do some extra tricks, especially with Honest. You can get Honest out onto the field with another monster, and then you get use Honest effect to bounce it back to your hand, so at least you have that hand trap in hand, just in case your opponent tries to get a bigger monster on the field to overrun your monsters, which is actually very good. So, all awesome. Okay, for the traps, 2 copies of Rebirth of Parasheth. Getting Area into your scale, so important with this card. Otherwise, there's like so many freaking costs to this card. It's not even funny. But the real cool thing about it is that it can actually special summon out Avenging Knight Parasheth from the extra deck, which is actually pretty cool. Alright. Fresh off the ban list. At 3 copies. 3 copies of Solemn Judgment. Gotta run it. Can just be activated anytime, whether it's getting Area or not is up. Sorry. And then, of course, you got 3 copies of Solemn Strike. Inherent summons are still a thing with this meta. And blocking monster effects is also very key. Judgment doesn't block monster effects, so you gotta back it up with Strike. Alright? Just to help clear out the board a little bit, 3 copies of Storming Mirror Force, non-destruction, monster removal, very good in this deck. A lot of people say, oh, you should run the counter trap, like negate attack and stuff like that. Here's my thing with negate attack versus Storming Mirror Force. Negate attack just ends the battle phase. It doesn't do anything to your opponent's monster unless you turn around and have like Mateel on the field and are able to get over any potential effects that can negate it. Alright? With this card, you're taking the monsters off the field if they attack. It's a much better card in my opinion, and this is what you should be running. Alright? To help slow your opponent down even further, summon limit only 2 monsters can be summoned per turn, which is actually pretty damn good. You could do that or Rivalry. I mean, either one would actually hurt the meta very well. I'm liking summon limit a little bit more right now. Alright, and 3 copies of Ultimate Providence. Negate monster effects, spells, or trap activations. If you have Guiding Area up, you don't have to discard any cards. If you do, you have to discard a card that matches what's being activated. To negate a monster, you discard a monster. To negate a spell, you discard a spell. To negate a trap, you discard a trap. You get that whole idea. Well, that's pretty much it for the main deck. I'm going to go right here into the extra deck. Alright, I am running 3 copies of the Avenging Knight Parasheth. Alright, typically you bring it out with Rebirth. Very awesome. It's got 2600 attack, which is actually pretty decent. I mean, if you have Sanctum up, that goes up to 29, which is actually even better. Okay. And you run 3 because of Extravagance, alright? Rank 4, so you can put in the rank 4 engine and Abyss Dweller, Grave Effects sort of thing. Like us, Emerald, recycle more stuff back into your deck and draw a card. Excited Knight, 4 wipe. Gaga Cowboy, burn for game. The Utopia package to swing for game, if necessary. Time Thief Redoer, just to take stuff away from your, really right off your opponent's deck. Alright. Hip Hoshigan, actually pretty good in this deck. Power boosts your fairy type monsters even further. And if it's ever sent to the field of the graveyard, you get a fairy type monster back. So, not bad in the deck. Nightmare package, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Goes up to special summon monsters, back row. Spin monsters off the deck, off the field, back to the deck. And of course, Boral Sword, if you can climb up into it, you can OTK with it. Alright guys, that is it for my Counter Fairy deck profile for August 2019. As always, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this on my channel, make sure to subscribe, enable notifications, including the YouTube notifications so you don't miss a single upload. Check out the description box below, find the invite link to my Discord server. Join the conversation, we would love to have you. Follow me on Twitter at BystanderX79. And guys, until next time, as always, peace.